Well guys, it looks like industry veteran Jade Raymond has left her PlayStation-owned Haven Studios. Jade Raymond, who worked for Ubisoft from 2004 to 2015, where she gained prominence for being one of the producers for the original Assassin's Creed game, and worked as an executive producer on Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, I believe Watch Dogs as well, and Splinter Cell Blacklist. She also helped with the opening and founding of Ubisoft Toronto back in 2010. The studio actually developed Splinter Cell Blacklist. I actually remember playing that game on my Wii U when it came out in, I think it was 2013. They also put out Starlink Battle for Atlas, which if you remember was like a space shooter game where you could buy toys for the game itself, like a spaceship or weapons, and add them to your actual in-game spaceship. And with the Switch, you could actually scan them like Amiibo to add them in the game. Ubisoft also partnered with Nintendo to add Star Fox and crew to the game. They also developed 2020's Watch Dogs Legion, and their last game to release was Far Cry 6 in 2021, and they're currently developing the Splinter Cell remake. Jade ended up leaving Ubisoft Toronto in 2015 and joined EA to open Motive Studios, which is focused on making Star Wars games. She helped the team develop and launch Star Wars Battlefront 2, but she didn't stay at the studio too long. She only lasted about 3 years there before she left in 2018. Raymond joined Google in 2019 to lead Stadia's game entertainment to create exclusive content for Google Stadia. Remember that disastrous product? Maybe one of the worst product launches ever. But Jade's time at Google was also short-lived. Jade left Google in 2021 and Stadia was shut down in 2023, only lasting about 4 years. After leaving Google in 2021, Jade found Haven Studios in Montreal. PlayStation tapped the studio to make a game called Fairgames, or some people call it Fairgame $, another live service game. See, back in 2020 to 2021, Sony had a major hard-on for live service games, having almost all their studios developing live service games. You had Naughty Dog, you had Insomniac, you had Ben Studios, you had, who else was there? Fire Sprite Studios, and I believe London Studios, which ended up shutting down. In addition to turning most of their first-party devs into live service studios, Sony also went out and bought a bunch of other studios to make live service games as well, like Bungie, Firewalk Studios, and Jade Raymond's Haven Studios. And after finding out people really don't want live service games anymore and the market is oversaturated and bloated, PlayStation ended up canceling a bunch of live service games in development, closed studios, and also laid off a ton of staff. But hey, at least they let Firewalk Studios release their critically acclaimed and commercial hit Concord. Just kidding, it was probably the worst video game launch performance of all time. It was a boring Overwatch clone, ugly DEI characters filled with pronouns. Christ, they even gave the fucking robot pronouns. PlayStation invested in the studio and ended up buying them, and when it was all said and done, the game only lasted 2 weeks, and Sony lost $400 million on it. And now they have Bungie, which showed off its brand new game, which is basically a live service extraction shooter. And I guess they're trying to capture some kind of nostalgia vibes by calling it Marathon. The game was met with a lukewarm reception, which is a very bad sign for these types of games. Bungie was already faced with serious hardships, and if this game doesn't hit, it'll be a very bad day for them. And now they're being accused of stealing almost all the art for Marathon from another artist. And if you take a look, it looks like that's exactly what they did. And now we have the Haven Studios game, Fairgames, or Fairgame $, which looks to be another online extraction shooter about robbing the ultra rich. From what I understand, you and a group of 3 friends are trying to rob rich people in other places holding valuable items, but it's a race against the clock as other groups of players are in the same game as you, also trying to steal the same item. So you need to get in and out ASAP. I believe that's the gist of it because we don't even know what the game looks like. We haven't seen any gameplay so far. All we have is a CG trailer that came out back in 2023. With Jade leaving, you gotta figure PlayStation's probably gonna end up shutting this game down and closing the studio. It's looking like Conquer 2.0. You gotta believe after the failure of Conquer, PlayStation took a huge step back and took a real hard look at their live service crusade and realized this strategy ain't working. You've already seen them shut down London and Firewalk Studios. I got a feeling Jade found out early that they're gonna be closing the studio down and she just booked it. They were probably waiting to after their earnings call to close down the studio, and they just had that like 2 or 3 days ago. I got a feeling Haven Studios and Fairgames isn't long for this world. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing for more PlayStation content. Until next time, guys, bye.